Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever walked through a massive manufacturing plant, or maybe stood next to a towering skyscraper, you might have wondered, what exactly is the brain controlling all of that heavy machinery? Well, today we are looking at the absolute ultimate master controller for modern industrial equipment, the variable frequency drive, or VFD.
But before we even get into what a VFD is or how it actually works, I want you to consider this number, 20 to 60%. That is the massive amount of energy savings that a VFD can provide when you pair it with an industrial motor. In a world that's obsessed with efficiency, this device is, quite literally, a game changer.
To understand how it pulls that off, here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, what is a VFD? Number 2, how a VFD works. Number 3, components and control. Number 4, protection and faults. And number 5, maintenance and safety. Simple enough, right? Let's get right into it.
Section 1. What is a VFD? Think of an industrial motor kind of like a giant, powerful orchestra. Without a conductor, it really only knows one speed, right? Just full blast. Well, the VFD is that conductor. It dictates the exact tempo and volume needed for the motor's performance at any given millisecond.
So, formally defined, a variable frequency drive is an electronic device that controls the speed and torque of an AC motor. And how does it do that? Literally just by varying the frequency and the voltage being supplied to it. Now, you might also hear this technology called an AC drive, an inverter, or an adjustable speed drive out in the field. Don't let that confuse you. They all fundamentally mean the exact same thing.
But where do you actually find them? The truth is, VFDs are quietly running the infrastructure that we rely on every single day. They're tucked away in the HVAC systems and chillers keeping your office cool. They run the centrifugal and cooling water pumps in city grids, the elevators in your apartment building, the massive cranes at shipping ports. They're even running critical systems inside nuclear and water treatment plants.
So why are they absolutely everywhere? Well, beyond those massive energy savings we teased a minute ago, these devices drastically reduce mechanical wear and tear. Instead of just slamming a motor on at full speed right out of the gate, a VFD provides a really smooth motor starting and a soft stopping process. That dramatically reduces mechanical stress, it improves your overall process control, lowers maintenance costs, and significantly increases the lifespan of the equipment. It's a win-win. All right, Section 2. How a VFD works. Okay, let's really dive into this. We are going to follow the electron on a journey straight from the wall power input all the way down to the motor itself.
It all happens in 5 distinct, incredibly fast steps. Step 1, the VFD takes in standard 3-phase AC power from the supply. Step 2, that power hits the rectifier, which converts the AC into DC power. Step 3, that DC power enters the DC bus, which basically stores the energy and smooths out the voltage to get rid of any ripples. Step 4, now this is where the magic happens. The inverter converts that smooth DC back into AC. It does this using IGBTs, insulated gate bipolar transistors, which are literally switching on and off thousands of times per second using a technique called pulse width modulation, or PWM. And finally, step 5, the motor receives this newly customized variable frequency AC power, and it runs at the exact speed dictated by the drive.
Let's break down the simple math of how dropping that frequency directly controls the motor speed. The formula for motor speed in RPM is 120 times the frequency divided by the number of poles in the motor. So, for a standard 4-pole motor at 50 Hz, the motor runs at 1500 RPM. Drop that frequency to 40 Hz, it drops to 1200 RPM. Drop it to 20 Hz, you're looking at 600 RPM. You are literally just dialing the speed up and down by manipulating the electrical frequency. It's so elegant.
Section 3, components and control. So we've seen the overall flow, but now let's pop the hood and look at the exact hardware components and software methods that give us this incredible control.
Now, what's really interesting here is how rapidly we can pair each internal component with its exact job. The rectifier converts AC to DC. Then the DC bus and its capacitors store that energy and smooth the voltage. From there, the IGBT produces that variable AC for the motor. You've also got a reactor sitting in the circuit to reduce electrical harmonics. And because all this rapid switching generates just a ton of thermal energy, the heatsink and cooling fan work continuously to dissipate and remove all that heat. Finally, the control board acts as the brains of the whole operation, commanding everything.
But that control board needs software instructions to function. There are 3 main control methods programmed into VFDs to tell them how precisely to command the motor. First is V/F control, or volts per hertz. It's the most common, lowest cost, and it's perfect for standard centrifugal pumps and fans. Next up is sensorless vector control, which gives you much better torque control and more accurate speed regulation. And for your most demanding tasks, you use closed-loop vector control. This actually uses encoder feedback directly from the motor for incredibly high precision, typically used in advanced servo applications.
Section 4. Protection and faults. Because here's the thing, VFDs don't just run the motor. They also act as an absolutely crucial shield, preventing catastrophic electrical and mechanical failures from destroying your entire system.
Modern VFDs come loaded with robust built-in protections to safeguard both the drive itself and the incredibly expensive motor it runs. We're talking overcurrent and overvoltage protections, undervoltage safeguards, over-temperature monitors, and systems actively looking for earth faults, motor overloads, phase loss, and short circuits. Basically, if something goes wrong on the grid or mechanically, the VFD instantly steps in and safely shuts down the operation to save the equipment.
And when the drive does step in to protect the system, it throws an error code. Here we can tie those internal protections directly to the common faults a technician will actually see flashing on the display. Overcurrent? That often means a physical motor jam or a short circuit. Overvoltage can happen from regenerative energy pushing backward from the motor, or just an unstable power supply. Undervoltage simply means low incoming voltage from the grid. Overheat usually points to a dirty fan or blocked cooling vents. And a ground fault almost always indicates a cable insulation failure somewhere down the line.
Section 5. Maintenance and safety. Let's transition and see how all of this builds from theoretical faults into the very real, very physical care required by the human operators working on these machines.
We have to start with safety, and the stakes here are high. Always, always apply lockout-tagout procedures before starting any maintenance. Next, and this is a surprising and vital danger, you absolutely must wait several minutes after powering down for the DC bus capacitors to fully discharge. If you don't wait, you can literally receive a lethal shock even with the main power switched off. It's no joke. Always verify zero voltage with a properly rated meter before touching internal components. Wear your appropriate PPE, and never, ever disconnect the motor while the VFD is actively running.
So the crucial point here is establishing a proper, chronological, preventative maintenance schedule, and it really scales up over time. On a daily basis, operators should just check alarms, observe the display, check temperatures, and just listen for any unusual noise. Weekly, the focus shifts to cleaning vents and checking cabinet temps. Moving to monthly, you're physically tightening those power terminals, checking wiring and grounding, and blowing out dust. Then, quarterly, it gets a bit more intense, thoroughly inspecting the capacitors and heat sinks, and measuring insulation resistance with the motor disconnected. Finally, annually, the whole drive gets a deep clean, a thermal scan, a backup of its parameters, and full functional testing.
And this brilliantly illustrates how technicians map specific behavioral problems in the field straight to root causes and actionable solutions. Motor won't start? You've probably got an active fault you need to reset and investigate. Drive trips immediately upon starting? You want to look for a short circuit in the motor or cable insulation. Is the VFD itself overheating? It's highly likely a cooling fan failure. Just clean it or replace it. Experiencing unstable speed? You might just have the wrong tuning parameters. Run an auto-tuning procedure. Noise and vibration? That's often an issue with your PWM carrier frequency setting or just general mechanical degradation.
Well, we've covered the engineering, the hardware, and the hands-on maintenance. But I want to leave you with one final thought. If variable frequency drives can reliably save up to 60% of energy usage on a single motor, how much power could the entire world save if every single industrial motor out there was paired with one? It is a massive, incredibly exciting, and largely untapped global opportunity. Keep wondering, keep learning, and thanks so much for exploring this with me today.